Hello friends, welcome to TechnoPoints. This video is part of Kotlin Tutorial Series which we are running, and in this video we are going to see some more functionalities and some more features of Kotlin. That is, in this video we are going to see scope functions. So there are total 5 types of scope functions: run, with, let, apply, and also. We'll see each of them one by one with their practical implementation in this video. So let's get started. So here I'm in the IntelliJ IDEA, and I have just written a main function here, and I have just created a data class that is car, and with some properties. Here we have three properties. The class is car, and one is manufacturer, another one is model, and third one is a color. All properties I have already uh, assigned a value, so that if we don't assign the value, that would be also be fine. So let's create one object here, val car equals car. Okay, we are not passing any value to the constructor, so that's fine, as we have already given the values here. So here is a car object, but let's say we have to assign some different value. Let's say there is a car that is from Tata itself, but it has different model and it has different color. So we have to override the values here and assign the different values to them. So what we can do is we can use the same object car dot manufacturer is the same, so we'll change the color. Let's say it has color as green, and it is giving me an error because these all properties are val. Okay, we'll keep one property as val and create others as val. Okay, now you can see error is gone. So I'll override another property, car dot model. Let's say the model is another one, Nixon. So here the car object, it will contain manufacturer as Tata, and color and model as green and Nixon respectively. But here is, if you can see, there is a repetition in the code. For every property we have to access, we have to write car.model, and here I have just mentioned two property or three properties, but there may be the heavy and lot of properties in the object. There can be some heavy objects which contains lot and lot of properties, hundreds and thousands of properties. So it is not feasible to write the car keyword card again and again, and access the value inside that and then assign. So we can do some modification here. The meaning of the code will be same, but it will be just the improvement in the code, so that we don't have to write this car again and again. So that's where scope functions are used. So let's go with the first scope function, that is let. So let's see first the syntax of let function. Car dot, we can just assign let, and inside that we get one variable as it. Okay, that it, we can directly refer, it refers to the car. We can see it colon car, so we can just directly write it dot color equals to green, and we can perform the same for the model as well. So instead of car, there may be, this is just a uh, three words variable, but it might happen that variable might contain a lot of letters, and it a combination of two or three words. So instead of writing that every time, we can just refer to here it. And here the car object is non-nullable, but in case there is a car object can also contain null value. Let's try changing that. The car will be, this will be a nullable object, and it has value as null. So this makes sense. And if we write here, we started getting error here, because we have to either make it as assertive statement, not here, or here, or best way we can figure out through this is, we can just put a question mark here, so that if the object is not null, then only this property will be accessed in it. So we won't get error. But same as I have said earlier, if there are hundreds and thousand properties of this, then we have to write a question mark on in front of each assignment. Wherever we are accessing that, we have to put that this question mark. But with the let keyword, what we can do is we can do just put a question mark here itself, and all errors are gone here. If we can see, we are not getting an error, because what it will happen, it will come here and it will first check if the car variable is null. If it is not null, then only this whole block will be executed, otherwise it won't execute at all. So compiler has the guarantee that whenever the control execution control comes here, the object will not be null, because we are checking the null condition here itself. And mostly for these cases, let keyword is used. Okay, that's it for this let. But does this let scope function return some value? Yes, of course it do. Let's try val value equals to, and see this one. If we hover here on the value, here it is saying as unit. It do send it do return some value, but why it is saying unit? Because whatever the value it returns, the let function returns is the last statement what we have put in our block. Let's say we put here 1, and here you can see some symbol like here is cap and let. So if we hover here again, it is showing that nullable int type, because the let function, what it does is by returning the value, it goes to the last statement, and if the last statement returns some value, then that value is directly transferred to the whatever variable we are assigning for the as a result of this let function. So if we hover here, we are not able to see int, or we if we just put some string here, let's say hi, then if we hover here, we can see that value colon nullable string. So it now modified its data type to the string. So that's how let block works. Now let's move towards another scope function, that is with. So with, we can also use the same way. Let's say in for the let, we still have to write the it for accessing every property in the of the car object. With the if we use the with scope function, then we don't need that. Let's try it with car, and we can directly open the scope function, and it is ready to use. In this, we can access the property directly here. That is, if I write 0, then it automatically came as a color. I do, even if it is giving me here, it is giving me this. I can also write this dot color, or any property in the object, but I can directly write access the property with the help of this with, and we can directly assign the value here. But in order to access it like this, what we have is we should have non-null object. So let me convert it to the non-nullable, and now error has gone. It works fine. I can just alter the color and model of the car to any model we like. So with the help of with scope function, we have this privilege to directly access the property of an object without writing this or it. Let's move toward third scope function, that is run. So run is also same as like this. It basically is a combination of let and with. So we can write run, we can write car dot run. So this is the syntax. It has a syntax like this let. After writing this car dot let, we can just write this the car dot run. And for this run to work, it should also have non-nullable object in order to access the properties directly inside this. So we can access the property inside this color equal to some color, and then model equal to some model. So that's it. So run is also has some common property as the let function. It returns the value as in the whatever the value the last statement of the block has. So if we write here val value 1, let's say, and if we hover his, here it is saying that unit, because there is no value returned from the last statement of this block. If I write here 1 or 2 or let's say 12, here it is giving a value as integer. And if we write here some string or let's say now we'll make some value as a double, and now it will show double. So this is the benefit of run function, that is it is a more combination of both let and run, breadth and width. Okay, and even if this object is nullable, then also we can just write a question mark here, and we can start accessing like what we like, just let. So in the let, we were basically using this question mark in order to access the nullable object safely inside the block, and that we can do in the run. So that run object has taken that feature from the let. And another feature is within the with block, we can directly access the properties of the object. So in the run block, we can directly access the properties of an object without writing it as we write in the let. So this second feature run block has adopted from the with. So that's why run block is a combination of let and with. By the way, let me tell you one thing. Same like let, with also returns some value, and that also it returns the last statement whatever it has at the end of the block. So let's try that. Well, I'll just write v here, and let's type some number here. And if we hover this v, then we are able to see here integer. So whatever the value will return from here, it will be returned from the with scope function. So with also does the same. All of these three functions returns the value whatever there is at the last statement of the block. So let's move towards another scope function, that is apply. So if we are if we had a look at this let, with and run, all of these function have their separate object are processing on the one object after it has been initialized here. But if we have to initialize the object and we have to assign the object assign the values to the object at the same time, then we use the apply function. So let's rub these two statements, and let's say we have created the car object here. Here I can directly click dot apply, and also both we can uh, put here. So we'll first see apply. So I pressed enter for this apply, and it gives this scope the as a car object. So here we can directly access the properties here and assign the values to here itself while the object is being initialized. Let's say it has a color has red, and that model is something like, let's say it's oh, I don't remember the most models. Let's say it is ultras model, one of model of Tata. So let's say we have here some person have this car and it has a red color, and we are creating the object for that. Then we can directly apply here and apply the additional properties whatever it has. Whatever the property we have mentioned here, that the manufacturer, it will automatically take from this because we have already initialized this string. And for the other two properties, this value will be overridden by these values. At the time of initialization itself, we have set the properties different. So if you try to here access the property of this object car dot color, then the color will come as red, and the same will happen for model. The model will come as ultras. So this is the thing. This is what the apply object can do. But whatever if the apply function is applied, then what value it gives? Let's say if I write car here and just hover on it, it is showing me an object that is car. So it as it is giving a return type as car, then this apply function scope function must be returning object. So yes, the apply function, unlike these all functions let, with, and run, this function we have already seen that this function returns whatever the value it is at the last line of the scope. That is, here it will show, it will uh, return the value as the string, here integer, and here it is double. But in this, in the apply function, it will it not do that like that. Return the value of the object on which it is applied. So here it does the processing on this object, apply the values, and return the same object. And this car now has these two properties as whatever we have specified here, and one manufacturer property it took as a default from here. So this is the use of apply function. So let's move towards last scope function, that is also. So also, as its name suggests, it does something like you had done this, but also do this one as well. The same thing the function does here. Here in the screen, we can see that here we have created one object car, and we have used the apply function and apply this property on this. Okay, we have done this, but again we have to do something on this object. We have to process object on the after it has already been initialized, and at this case we use the also function. So let's say we have some different function, and we have to make it as single instance. We have to make the single instance of this object, and we have initialized that object. So what we can do, we have initialized that object, and we can just type here dot, and here we can directly write also, because these functions support the chaining. So we can click here directly dot also, and what we can do is, let's say we have one instance variable named instance here, where instance colon, it is an instance of type car, and currently instance has no value, and we have to assign the value. We have There is one instance in which we need these two properties to be applied on this car object, and then we have to assign the instance to this variable instance. Then we can write dot also instance equal to it. We are getting an it car object here, so that this it is an initialized object, and with all the properties applied here. So what it makes sense that compiler comes here, and we are telling the compiler that create an object of named car of type car, and apply these two properties on this object, and then also do this thing. And in the also, we are doing that, setting that instance, whatever we have new instance created, set that instance to this instance variable. So these are the two scope functions that we have used on the single car object. And both of these scope functions returns the object on which it is processing. It takes the parameters, it takes an object like apply is taking an object as a car, processing it, applying those two properties on it, and then returning the same object after processing. So after process, that object comes to there also, and also then the executes this block, and then the also block, this block as well returns the same updated object instance to the car. Then the car still have the same instance as this with these properties. So this is about the scope functions in Kotlin. I hope these all functions are clear to you. Basically, mostly the also and let are the functions I believe that are used mostly while building an application for Android. If you have some doubts in that, you can ask me in the chat. I will try my best to answer. If you come to his video by following all of these Kotlin tutorial series videos, then I believe you have a quite a good understanding of Kotlin, and you can now write your programs in Kotlin. So I would suggest you to take some aim in your mind, prepare it from your mind, and then try to write a program for that, and then you can gradually start moving towards Android development with the help of Kotlin. Any programming language have vast number of concepts. So throughout these videos I have covered most of the concepts, and mostly use the concepts which you might require while developing Android. I have covered this all in the series. But if I later in the future, if I thought that this type of video is not covered, this type concept is not covered in our tutorial series, then I will make a video on that and will share in the same playlist. If you like this Kotlin tutorial series or this video, then please click on like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have some friends who are struggling to learn Kotlin, then please share it with those, because knowledge increases by sharing. We'll meet in the next tutorial related to Android for some new concept. Till then, goodbye, happy coding, keep practicing.